you said Brian Daboll, when he was with the Bills, they went out and got Stephon Diggs. Didn't draft him. They traded for an
Right.
established.
Oh,
What if they trade for a guy who his team got new jerseys recently, and he was not at the unveiling of the said jerseys? And those
He's not going to
jerseys,
be on that team anymore.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dorm Debate Podcast. Guys, we are back. We have 3/4 of the Dorm Debate Podcast. Caleb couldn't make it. He's on vacation right now in Texas. So we will see him actually in a surprising way at the end of the podcast episode. You'll have to stay tuned for that. So, guys, Jonathan and John, it's been a while. Both your teams have been very active in the trading and in free agency.
yep.
How have you guys felt so far? You guys feeling good about your team?
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, the Giants made a couple moves, and I'm interested to see what they do in the draft. But I'm happy. I'm happy based on how last season went, making the playoffs, winning a playoff game. I think we have some potential for this upcoming season.
Yeah, I'm excited too about the moves the Cowboys made. They didn't sit on the sidelines. That's great. And then they weren't baited by the media to make some stupid moves. For example, we didn't get OBJ like everybody wanted us to. He's overrated. I think me and John agree with that. He's definitely overrated. He's a prima donna. So glad that Jerry and the team didn't, select him and selected another top guy. So I know we'll get into it.
Yeah, let's just jump right in. We might as well. We've been away for a while. And let's start off with the Cowboys. As everybody always likes to talk about the Cowboys,
Yes.
America's team.
America's team.
We love the Cowboys. So let's start off with their free agent acquisitions and trade acquisitions. And they look pretty dang good. So these are just notable ones. They're not every single one, but just notable ones. You got one of the best cornerbacks in the game,
That's
Stephon
right.
Gilmore, via
Yes.
trade.
Money.
That's huge.
That's
That
huge.
is
That's huge.
amazing. He's a great safety net cornerback, and he's like the total opposite of like Trayvon Diggs, because Diggs usually like tries to jump routes and he takes a gamble on a lot of passes and he gets burnt. Stephon Gilmore is textbook cornerback.
This guy's a traditional cornerback. He can cover almost any receiver. He's disciplined. He has a ton of experience, and I think he can also mentor a lot of these young cornerbacks. Even Trevon Diggs could learn a thing or two from Gilmore. So I'm excited the Cowboys got him.
100%. The next guy, you didn't get OBJ, but instead you got Brandon Cooks via trade. Now, how do you feel about Brandon Cooks OBJ, right? So you didn't want OBJ, you get Brandon Cooks. You think Brandon Cooks is a lot better?
I think Brandon Cooks is a lot better. He's a deep threat, which is what the Cowboys needed. He's not a prima donna. Brandon Cooks is not a prima donna like OBJ. He just gets the job done. He was a star receiver on Texans, so he's still staying in Texas, so that's great for him. But yeah, Brandon Cooks has had this speed for a long time. I've always felt he's been one of the most underrated receivers in the league. He does what he's coached to do. He's disciplined, and he brings that speed and that fear to a lot of defenses that the Cowboys have lacked in the past. CeeDee Lamb is great, but he's not that fast. He doesn't have that deep threat. He doesn't add that deep threat to the Cowboys offense, and so. We have Tony Pollard and then Brandon Cooks, right? So that should make defenses a little scared. If you don't have a fast defense that's agile, can move sideline to sideline, then it's going to be tough for you to stop this offense. So that's what Brandon Cooks adds to our offense, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I said it before. I mean, when you guys let Amari Cooper go, I wasn't happy with that. I think that CeeDee Lamb's great, but I don't know if he can carry a team by himself. He's a great wide receiver, but now having Cooks on the outside, he primarily plays out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can move CeeDee Lamb around, because before Gallup was injured most of the year last year, so Lamb had to stay on the outside. Now you can move Lamb back into the slot sometimes, maybe throw him opposite of Cooks on the outside, but you have more flexibility with CeeDee now that Cooks is there stretching the field and giving the defenses something else to look at.
Yeah, and we can add in those jet sweeps that they've been doing that with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, again, he's not that fast, so those plays aren't that great, honestly. With Brandon Cooks, you have that legit speed that you can do a lot of things with. So I think that just opens up the playbook a lot more for the Cowboys offense. And, don't even get me started about Dak Prescott. I mean, we could talk about that later, but like he needs the help. He needs all the help he can get.
Yeah.
And so this hopefully will make him look a little bit better. But like I'm starting to get fed up by Dak Prescott. But hey, that's another conversation for another day.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking back to when the Cowboys lost. I'm like, what was like the main issue? Have they solved it?
Exactly.
And it's like, you really can't solve it when you still have Dak at quarterback. So the only way to improve it is to get as many athletes as possible around him, as many playmakers around him as possible.
Yeah.
And so let's go to the losses, because then we'll move into, what you think the Cowboys should do in the draft this upcoming Thursday. So Ezekiel Elliott is gone. Tony Pollard basically stole that first string role from him last season. And I think Tony Pollard is just way too versatile for Ezekiel Elliott. And they just said, we don't really need Elliott anymore. Yeah. And so he's gone.
They gave him a chance. The coaches gave him a chance to do well, but he didn't succeed.
You can't just do 1-yard runs for touchdowns all the time and expect to get a new contract.
Yeah.
He's not as versatile anymore. Can't break out big runs anymore. You got rid of Noah Brown, a receiver, but obviously you got Cooks. And then obviously a guy that was not a fan favorite, and especially in the playoffs, Brett Maher.
Oh, thank God.
You don't have Brett Maher anymore.
What an embarrassment. He took away from that great Bucks win. We essentially made Tom Brady retire, and that was going to be the story. But this guy was missing 1 field goal, then 2, then 3, then 4.
They weren't even field goals. They were extra points.
Extra points. Like, that was embarrassing. Like, they were the laugh of the league. We're like, wow, the Cowboys can't do anything.
Yeah.
Even when we get a significant win like that, there's always something. I was like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good riddance. Sorry, Brett Maher. Got somebody else.
Yeah, so that was the kicker. So he's gone. And now we move on to the mock draft. So you pick 26th as of right now.
Well, hold on. They also lost Dalton Schultz.
Oh, yeah. I had that on.
Starting tight end. I mean, you still have Ferguson and Hendershot, but
to the Texans. They lost him to the Texans. So
that's big. I really liked Schultz. I thought Schultz was really good.
He was consistent. Yeah, I liked him too.
I'm glad you mentioned that, John, because that goes into, I went on and looked at a bunch of mock drafts from different websites, CBS, NFL.com, PFF. And I looked at who they think the Cowboys should draft with their 26th pick in the first round. So, as you said, they lost Dalton Schultz, their starting tight end. Didn't have an amazing season. I think, John, you had him big in your fantasy picks, and he just never met like that expectation.
Yeah, he was hurt and then had that knee injury, came back, had a couple of good games, but nothing crazy.
So they had Jake Ferguson, I think, is the backup, but CBS, PFF, and Fox Sports all have the Cowboys picking tight end Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame. And then NFL.com
That's a good one.
has the Cowboys picking running back Jahmyr Gibbs out of Alabama. So that was just 4 websites, mock drafts that I looked at. CBS and all these places have different people doing different mock drafts. I just kind of picked, the most popular one. But that gives you an idea. They 100% are looking for offense. I mean, they got Brandon Cooks in free agency, but they still feel like they need more around Dak Prescott. They still need a potential backup running back to fill in for Zeke. What do you think, Jonathan? Did you see a tight end? Do you see a running back selected here? Or could you go the other side of the ball on defense?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great thought. I didn't realize tight end was what we were lacking. But I'm looking at the roster and thinking about it. That's actually a good point. And Notre Dame produces a lot of great tight ends, so that would be a great first pick for the Cowboys. But this past season, the Cowboys, their defense was pretty good, and they drastically improved. So as a team owner, I think you sort of have to reward Dan Quinn and potentially give him a first-round pick because of that. So, Jerry's probably going to Dan Quinn's like, now, Dan, I think y'all did a great job this season on defense. And I want the defense to do a lot better next year. So is there any piece you think we could do to, spark up this defense a little bit more? They're like, well, Jerry, we appreciate you helping us get Stephon Gilmore this past season, but I think we still need to press down on the defensive back because in the playoffs, our rush defense was really good. It was like second in the playoffs. But in terms of passing, in terms of defending a lot of these elite receivers in the playoffs, we struggled. So we need all the help we can get. So perhaps getting another defensive back that's versatile and that can help us win. Maybe we could aim for that in the first round. When you're picking, draft picks, you should look to see like what you can do to beat that team that you want to beat. That's sort of like what the Bills did with the Chiefs. Their team is beat. Their team is, I guess, built to beat the Chiefs, right? So the Cowboys right now, we have to build a team to beat the 49ers. That's what we should always be thinking about because that's the gateway to.
What about Eagles?
The Eagles, we can beat them. Eagles with the team that we had last year, we could have beat the Eagles, right? The 49ers, for some reason, the Cowboys kryptonite. So why is that? We have to find a way to build our team to defeat that team. Find somebody that can guard Deebo Samuel. This guy could do that.
All right, so wait, hold on. You got Stephon Gilmore, and you want to draft a cornerback? Because then you're going to be starting Gilmore and Diggs. You don't want this guy you draft in the first round to just be sitting on the sideline.
Well, the thing is, Deebo Samuel, he likes to play the slot, right? Often, this guy is good at covering slot guys, and so he has the length, the speed to cover Deebo Samuel, and that it can make it tough for Deebo to get some easy passes. And so that's one prospect. Another one from Alabama, Brian Branch. He's not the most sparky guy in terms of stats, and he's not the fastest guy and all that, but he's pretty versatile in terms of what he can play.
Is he a safety?
He can play safety and corner.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
He can cover man. He can play zone. So Dan Quinn would love a guy like this. You can do many different things with him, and so that's another key guy.
I wouldn't mind a guy like that could probably split the role of a safety and go down into a slot, DB slot, because like we were saying before, Trayvon Diggs gets burnt a lot. And so you would want somebody that's versatile to maybe say, all right, if we're playing man, maybe you go into a safety position, Branch, and that way we have some sort of safety net behind Diggs if he really wants to start jumping these routes.
Yeah.
But if you're in a zone or anything else, or if you're going 5 wide, all right, let's bring Branch down and bring him on into the slot. So that is actually not a bad pick.
Yeah. So he's a key one that some scouts have him getting selected number 26 by the Cowboys. So my favorite though is this guy named Christian Gonzalez from the University of Oregon. He transferred from Colorado University, but the main reason I like this guy is because he has ties to Dallas, Texas.
Of course he does.
Cowboys, the Cowboys look for that. They look for they like to draft a lot of Big 12 guys. They look for people that have ties to the area. Are they going to be happy playing on the Dallas Cowboys? This guy could be happy. He's from the Colony High School in the Dallas, Texas area, and he's a star. He's fast. This guy has flashing speed. He ran a 4.38 40.
Wow.
He's tall. He's 6'1", over 200. Even in high school, he ran a 21.6 in the 200-meter dash. If you guys are familiar with the track times and stuff, so he's speedy fast. So that's great. And I think the way the league is going with all these fast receivers and everything, you need a fast defensive back that can keep up with them. And so this guy he's great instincts. This guy can stay on essentially anybody. Deebo Samuel is not that fast. At least he doesn't look it. This guy can cover Deebo Samuel. We have to think about the 49ers again, guys. If Christian McCaffrey wants to go empty and then go catch him some pass, this guy can cover.
True.
This guy is fast. And so he has great instincts. Again, he has ties to the area, ties to the Dallas, Texas area, great closing speed, And so those are some of the top 3 prospects in terms of defensive backs that I think Cowboys should look at. I would say with any of those guys, I think I'd be happy. But I think you got to reward Dan Quinn for how he improved this defense this year and try to give him a couple more pieces. So I would say the first couple of rounds maybe should go more towards the defensive side. If it's not a cornerback, maybe more defensive linemen, getting more pressure on people like Jalen Hurts, right? Even though we can still beat the Eagles. I mean, the team we had last year could beat the Eagles. So just putting more pressure on him, on Jalen Hurts and stuff, making his job more tough. That would be great. So Cowboys looking at defensive linemen, other top defense guys to help improve Dan Quinn's defense. I'll be happy with. But maybe in the later rounds, getting a tight end would be great. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I agree with Jonathan on this one. I think, look, like you said, the pass rush was great last year. So you still have Lawrence, you still have Parsons. That's going to be good. And the offense, I think the only thing it was really lacking was another receiver. And now you get Brandon Cooks. I know you lost Schultz, but I think Hendershot and Ferguson are good enough. Look, when Schultz wasn't playing, we never looked at the tight end position and said, oh gosh, Dak has no help. Hendershot and Ferguson were getting touchdowns. And Pollard is great at running back. And without Zeke there, yes, I think you should pick up somebody else maybe in the later rounds.
Yep.
But spending your first pick on Bijan Robinson, who won't be available then anyway, but on a guy like Gibbs, that's just a lot for a guy who's not going to play that much. More of an impact would be on the defensive side. And Jonathan, I like exactly what you said. Like, you have to beat the Eagles and the 49ers in the NFC. So how are you going to beat? They have A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, fast guys. They have Deebo Samuel. McCaffrey likes to catch passes.
Yeah.
I think you need to get a defensive back, whether it's a safety or cornerback. And if you don't, I like what you said about interior defensive linemen. You still have that pressure, but you need some interior pressure. I mean, look at the 49ers and the Eagles. They both love to run the ball.
Exactly.
So getting somebody else to stop the run would also help.
Yeah, and so, you have to, again, like I said, you have to get a team, build a team that can beat that kryptonite that you have. And that's why even in the regular season, we see the Bills and Chiefs play. The Bills usually beat the Chiefs because they have a better team. They build a team that can beat the Chiefs. But the thing is, they don't make it far in the playoffs. They usually play them, and that's what happened. They lost to the Bengals. So it's all about matchups. In terms of the Bills and the Chiefs, the Bills match up great with the Chiefs and they can beat them. We all know it, right? Well, at least last year. And so that's what I want the Cowboys to think like. Can we beat the 49ers? So do we have the pieces to beat the 49ers today? We're getting there, and that's what I'm excited about.
All right, I like that. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add about that. I wasn't thinking defense initially, I'll be honest. I was more going towards Michael Mayer. But now that you mentioned that, like, I guess if you're going tight end first round, he better be as agile as like Kittle, Kelsey, and Michael Mayer is really good. I actually saw him in Syracuse when he played Syracuse last year, and he's really good. He's a great ball catcher. I don't think he's like a versatile, game-changing, like build your offense around this guy, like a Travis Kelce or a Kittle or Waller or something like that. He's not very fast, but he's a ball catcher. He's gonna score a lot of touchdowns in the red zone.
Kind of like Mark Andrews, I guess. Yeah,
like a Mark Andrews. The tight end I like is actually Darnell Washington out of Georgia because he's a freak.
Yeah.
There was a viral video of him doing the blocking segment of the NFL Combine, and he's taken those blocking, pads or whatever that are like, I don't know, they got to be like, how heavy are those things? Like 50 pounds, over 100 pounds? I don't even know. And he's pushing the thing all the way down like 30 yards. Everybody else was doing like 5 to 10, and this guy's holding it up and he's pushing it like 30 yards down the field.
Wow.
And he's massive and very fast. So if there is going to be some hidden talent tight end that could be some sort of Kittle, Kelsey, I think it would probably be Washington more than Mayer, even though Mayer is definitely more developed than Washington. Washington's more of a raw talent. I would pick Washington, but
maybe they're available in later rounds. Or
Washington will probably be round 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's possible. It's possible they go defense here or running back here and then go tight end after with Washington. You never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like defense. I think you hit it right on the head. Let's go to the Giants. Now the Giants made the playoffs this year. Pretty successful season because not only did they make it, but they actually won a playoff game against the Vikings in Minnesota. Huge win. Let's look at their free agent trade acquisitions. Darren Waller, the biggest one. We're talking about tight ends, and Darren Waller is our next topic. They get him via trade.
Wait, the Giants have Darren Waller?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Oh my gosh. I didn't know about that. That's
They
scary.
they got him via trade from the Raiders.
That happened like a month or two ago, right?
Oh my gosh, how did I learn this?
It probably was during March Madness or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, huge get. I mean, look, Daniel Jones is a guy who spreads the ball around to everybody. Even when you guys had, I can't think of his name, but he's on the Vikings. Dang it, your tight end. He's not amazing, but he was on the Vikings earlier in his career. Then he went to the Giants recently. Dang it.
Oh, Kyle Rudolph.
Kyle Rudolph?
Yes.
Okay.
Even a guy that is not that amazing at tight end, he caught a lot of touchdown passes from Daniel Jones. So Waller will thrive in this offense.
Oh yeah, Daniel Jones is gonna feed him the ball like.
Oh my gosh.
That's gonna be great for him.
And they don't even have that many great receivers. So
Well, the only problem with Waller, as we've known over the last 2 years, I mean, anybody in fantasy knows that he gets hurt a lot. He's missed more games than he's played 100%. The last 2 years.
I have him in fantasy.
I like in fantasy the last 2 years. I had him last year in one league. I don't know, but it's
still
just frustrating.
I have him in a dynasty league, so I still have him. And yeah, he was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But when healthy, he's really good.
When healthy, I'm excited.
Yeah.
You guys also got Paris Campbell from the Colts, and you got Jamison Crowder. And your losses, you lost Richie James to the Chiefs. You lost safety Julian Love to the Seahawks. And that was all I really had.
Yeah, we also let Landon Collins go. So we lost 2 strong safeties, really.
Wasn't he good?
Well, Landon Collins, we got halfway through the year back from Washington, but he's kind of old now. He made a couple plays, but we let him go, and Julian Love I didn't think was that good. So we got Bobby McCain from Washington. He's our strong safety now. Xavier McKinney's our free safety, which is good. I mean, when's the last time we saw a team go deep in the playoffs with like a safety that we really even knew? I can't even name. Can you even name the safeties for the Chiefs?
Nah, probably
not. Like, I don't even know. So it's like, I think McCain and McKinney are good enough. But Jared, like you said, I mean, we have Sterling Shepard, slot guy. We have Jamison Crowder, slot guy. Paris Campbell, slot guy. I mean, it's time for us to get a guy that plays out wide. And we haven't really made any trades or signings in free agency that makes me believe that we're not going to draft a receiver. I really think we're going to get a receiver at the 25th pick. We got out wide is Hodgins.
It seems like Paris Campbell and Crowder are more depth picks because the Giants are just known for receivers getting injured all the time.
Right.
So it's just like, all right, now we're prepared for just in case maybe we're in week 3.
Shepard's going to miss games.
Yeah, you're in week 3 and maybe Slayton and Shepard are out, and it's like you have nobody. Now you have guys that have played a lot of games and have a lot of experience. But yeah, let's move on to the mock draft. So you guys pick 25th right before the Cowboys.
Perfect.
And CBS has safety Brian Branch from Alabama, we just talked about. NFL.com has interior offensive lineman John Michael Schmitz from Minnesota. PFF has wide receiver Jordan Addison, USC. So there's your wide receiver.
Wow.
And then Fox Sports also has Jordan Addison, receiver out of USC.
That would be a huge pickup if you guys got him.
So, John, who do you think is going to be picked? You said receiver already, but tell us which receiver you want.
I actually think all 4 of those sources are incorrect. I don't think we will pick any of those guys. I would be most happy with Addison, but to be honest, out of the top wide receivers, I don't really like Addison as much as the other guys. Now, the consensus is that Smith and Jigba is going to be gone way before we even pick.
Good point.
So I'm going to assume for this that he's not available. So now that leaves Quentin Johnston. Obviously, TCU went to the national championship game, and he was good. The concerns with him is he sometimes misses the ball, and he has some lapses. But he's big, and he's pretty good at catching. He's pretty fast.
Great for the end zone.
Great for the end zone. And we need a guy out wide without Galladay there because he catches all our touchdowns when we are in the red zone. So we need a guy in the red zone. So But the guy I actually like that kind of reminds me of Antonio Brown is Zay Flowers from Boston College. I really like him. If you haven't heard about him, go watch some highlights of him because he is
Jonathan would
really
like
good.
him. Jonathan,
Jonathan,
you'd
you would
really like
love
him.
this guy. Look this guy up. Watch some highlights. I need to
He
get
looks
his
pretty small, right?
Yeah,
5'10",
he's pretty
170.
small, but that's why he kind of reminds me of Antonio Brown. But he always lines up at Boston College, always lines up out wide. So he's not really moved into the slot that much, which is good because we have freaking 3 slot guys. But he's 5'10", 172, but he's really good. He's crafty. He's got great hands. I think out of all the guys that I watched film on, Smith and Jigba, Johnston, Addison, he has the best hands. And I know Addison is probably a little bit bigger and a little bit faster, but Addison plays the slot more times than not. And we have 3 slot guys. So I need a guy out wide. So to be honest, I'd be happy with either Johnston or Flowers, but I'd rather the Giants go Flowers.
What was Flowers 40? If you know, he must be kind of fast, right?
He was very fast.
He was, but
he had a pro day. He had a pro day 40 that was very fast. But it honestly, John, it reminds me of when you guys picked Kadarius Toney. Like you need a big play guy, but Toney just wasn't all there.
He got injured.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah.
He was injured, and he lined up in the slot. He's more of a gadget guy. Zay Flowers is more of a receiver. I think that's who you guys need to get. And I feel like he is like a Tyreek Hill kind of guy, a big play guy. But I guess the question with that is, you guys are at the mercy of who's available at your pick. Do you think you guys could potentially trade down or trade up?
The only reason I don't think we're going to trade up is because the consensus that I've been hearing is that this draft in general for all positions isn't one of the better drafts, and especially for wide receivers. I mean, most of the wide receivers are looked at as complementary pieces, not guys that are going to be wide receiver ones. Mm-hmm. Even Smith and Jigba, who's supposed to be the top guy off the board, isn't expected to be a wide receiver one. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of these receivers are going to fall. I think only maybe 2 or 3 are going to be picked in the first round. So I think if we hold steady at 25, I think Flowers or Johnston will be there. And I just looked up Flowers 40 time, and it was 4.42.
Wow.
Just for comparison, Chase was 4.38. So
that's still pretty good. That's all.
Yeah, it's pretty good. He was in the 82nd percentile.
He looks faster, like on film.
Yeah,
that's still pretty fast. As long as you get below 4.45, okay, we can. That's fine. So but yeah, I'm excited to see his highlights because
take a look at him.
He must be pretty elusive.
Oh yeah, he's good. He gets a little bit of separation, but he's just in the perfect place. I don't know his quarterback at Boston College. I don't even know who it was, but I mean he caught everything.
Yeah, I mean Boston College did have a decent quarterback, I will say, but I think 9 times out of 10, Zay Flowers made the play more than the quarterback did.
Like I'm saying, if you get a guy like Zay Flowers or a good elite receiver, and then give another, you just give Daniel Jones another guy to work with, I think the Giants are starting to look scary. I mean, with Brian Dabble and everything, man.
Yeah,
it's starting to look scary for NFC East teams.
Yeah.
Are you worried the Giants screw up this pick like they have in the past?
How could they screw it up?
I mean, the only way they screw it up is if they don't go with wide receiver. I mean, we could go with center. I've heard people talking about center. I've heard people talking about defense, but
safety.
I mean, yeah, we could go strong safety, but you got to go wide receiver. Yeah, the defense. Well, I don't really care about defense. The Chiefs' defense isn't that good, but their offense is amazing. So it's I agree, or I think that Daboll knows what he's doing. I mean, Daboll came from the Bills. What did the Bills have? They traded for Stephon Diggs. They got Cole Beasley. They had Jamison Crowder. They got Gabe Davis. They got Dawson Knox. Mm-hmm. He had all the pieces. Daboll knows, okay, we got rid of Galladay. We got Waller. We still need another presence outside. Yeah. I have confidence that Daboll will make this selection right.
Do you think like getting another receiver could help you beat a team like, I don't know who you lost to? Was it the Eagles? And I lost pretty bad to the Eagles, right, in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, we got destroyed. We
So
lost them
don't you?
3 times last
So don't
year.
you want like a defensive guy that to spark up that defense just a little bit that could give Eagles and maybe Cowboys some issues? Because again, this is a pretty offensive
I don't think you'll get
division.
a star defensive guy at 25 like that because Giants let up a lot of points. It's not like a rookie's gonna get inputted in this and be a Micah Parsons. It's just not gonna happen this.
Yeah,
late.
I
You
think
don't need a star, but maybe a few. I mean, like the first few rounds, maybe some defensive guys to beef up that defense a little. Because the offense, you got improved already. You got Waller,
Right.
Barkley. Hopefully, he's healthy and back. Right.
Right, but
So-
I'm going to assume, based on Waller's history, that what if, let's say, we get through the first 4 games and Waller gets hurt, and now we're like, oh, we don't know when he's coming back. Now we're back to where we were last year. We're like, shit, we got now. So it's like, I feel like Flowers or Johnston can make more of an impact for us to beat the Eagles than getting a defensive guy. I think defense I would look at for the second round.
What are your thoughts? You just sparked an idea when you said Brian Daboll, when he was with the Bills, they went out and got Stephon Diggs. Didn't draft him. They traded for an
Right.
established.
Oh.
What if they trade for a guy who his team got new jerseys recently, and he was not at the unveiling of the said jerseys? And
He's
those
not going to
jerseys-
be on that team anymore. I could tell
Those
you that.
jerseys were
Wait.
the Arizona Cardinals. He did not show up. Every big player went. Kyler Murray went. All the defensive players. James Conner went.
Don't say it.
DeAndre Hopkins
Oh
was
my
not
gosh.
there.
He's available.
Oh,
He's going
my.
to some team.
He's going somewhere.
I just don't know where.
Oh man! Imagine if D Hop came to the Giants. Oh,
Dude.
Oh my gosh!
Well, why? Dude, okay. That could happen. But would we need to trade for him? Like, his
Yeah.
contract's not up, right? So shit, what do we trade for him? Like,
Barkley.
Dude,
Okay.
first
Dude.
round?
Do you know what the freaking Cardinals traded David Johnson and a couple picks?
Dude,
Like-
who's our backup running back? We could
Yeah.
just, I mean,
Literally trade away like some blades of grass from MetLife, and they'll be like, "Deal, thanks."
dude,
yeah.
free dinner or something. Buy the GM dinner.
Yeah, literally.
No,
They'll
maybe-
give them away for anything. I
Maybe
don't
some
know
draft
why.
Picks, maybe some draft picks and maybe Campbell. I know y'all just got him, but like you got to give him something.
Yeah,
That
dude,
guy's-
Campbell's not great, but yeah, give him a draft pick, Campbell. I'd call him up and take him to Fogo de Chao and
Yeah,
see
but-
if I could work him over with the grilled pineapple.
yeah, exactly. That would do the trick.
Dude, you know that these NFL trades are so one-sided that I wouldn't be shocked if it was like 2 7th-round picks for
Well, he-
DeAndre Hopkins. I'm like,
Well, he
fuck
doesn't want to
this.
be there too, so
Yeah.
like,
They're trying to get rid of him.
Yeah,
dude, he needs to come to the Giants.
I'm telling you, I could see that happening more than you guys settling
But-
for a receiver.
But does Stephon Diggs want to be on the Bills still? Because apparently he didn't show up to like spring training or
I
something.
heard
Yeah.
about that.
It's a little cloudy with him, but I think he just wants to prove a point. I think a little bit, but
Because
I think he's gonna stay.
He was upset last game.
'Cause
the last
Dabble-
game of the season.
yeah, no, Dabble was the offense coordinator on the Bills, right? And so
Mhm.
him coming to the Giants, I guess Diggs can still be that key guy, and he can find ways to give him the ball. Because when he was there, Diggs was happy, right? So that could
That
be
would
an option.
that would be mental.
That
I
would
think
be
would be even
great.
better than Hopkins.
I'd rather Diggs than Hopkins. I mean, Diggs stays healthier, so
yeah,
exactly.
true. Dang. Okay.
wow. But
All
the
right,
thing
we're
is,
getting too carried
but the thing
away.
is, if Hopkins is going to come to us, we can't just be like, oh, okay, let's assume we're going to get Hopkins, so let's draft a defensive guy, and then all of a sudden, after the draft is over, we don't get a wide receiver, and then we try to negotiate with the Cardinals, and we can't get Hopkins. So like, either we got to get Hopkins by Thursday, which isn't going to happen.
It'll probably be like the AJ Brown trade to the Eagles last
Oh,
year.
on
day
draft
of.
day.
Yeah, like we'll give you the 20th pick. I
Yeah,
'cause
I'd
look,
give it to him easy.
the Cardinals are rebuilding anyway. Like it's just a bad fit for Hopkins.
Yeah, there's
to
no
be there.
reason for him to be there.
All right, let's move on to the Chargers quick. Obviously, they blew a giant lead to the Jaguars in the playoffs.
Eckler requested a trade, right?
Yeah, so I want to hear your thoughts on that. Eckler doesn't want to be there.
I'm literally wearing the jersey that I spent money on, Eckler.
I'll sell you my Keenan Allen one.
well then like mid-season, or not mid-season, after the loss, like weeks later they're like, oh, Keenan Allen might get traded, and then I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And then now Eckler could be traded. I'm like, oh my god, we weren't that far off. Like, I know it was a bad loss, but we were winning.
Yeah, do you know what the issue is? It because of money or something, or like
Yeah, it's money. He's not getting paid.
Let me go through this and then I'll give my thoughts. So we really have been pretty quiet as far as free agency goes. We did get linebacker Eric Kendricks from the Vikings. He's been there for a long time. I think he's like the 4th all-time leader in tackles in Vikings history. So he's just like a veteran guy that we really need because we got rid of Kyle Van Noy and Drew Tranquill. Drew Tranquill is one of my favorite.
Yeah, Tranquill
players.
led the team in tackles.
He was awesome. I loved him. We saw him live, and he went to the Chiefs, of course. So now I gotta hate him. We lost Nazir Adderley to retirement. DeAndre Carter went to the Raiders, and then obviously the big one, Austin Eckler, potentially could be lost. So
Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett.
Not Jason Garrett. Gosh, what's his name?
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore. I said Jason Garrett. Sorry. Cowboys.
Kellen Moore, the new offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So the mock draft, CBS has the Chargers at 21 picking. We were just talking about him. Wide receiver Zay Flowers. So
no.
Wait, why would y'all do that? You have Keenan Allen. You have that guy on the
Mike
outside.
Williams. Josh Palmer.
What is wrong with you guys?
I know. And it's not finalized. It's just CBS.
We're acting like it's already done.
It's like John's fantasy picks. You're like, dang it, he's going to go off. NFL.com has us taking an edge rusher, Nolan Smith out of Georgia. And PFF and Fox Sports have the same guy. And I'm surprised that we haven't talked about him yet. They have the Chargers picking running back Bijan Robinson out of the great state of Texas.
That means they're assuming that Eckler's gone, I guess.
Yeah. But, man, could you imagine? That'd be huge. But
him
and Eckler have different skill sets. Eckler is good for guys.
Completely
like
different.
Yeah. Because y'all have running backs that can run the ball, I think.
Yeah, you have Kelly that could run in between the tackles.
Yeah, he can
No, he can't. You thought. We thought. We thought. That's the key word. We thought that he could. All right, my thoughts. It's pretty simple. We need to improve both sides of the run game as far as offense and defense. We need to stop the run because I think we gave up the most yards per carry of any team in the NFL. And then obviously, when we have a lead, we can't run the ball because we blew a freaking 23-point lead to the Jags. If we could run it, we would have ran it and ran the clock out. But instead, we had to pass, and we're stopping the clock. So I think both sides of the ball think run. Now, Bijan's great. He's good. He's not Saquon Barkley generational talent. And that's why I would just steer a little bit away from drafting a running back in the first round. So I wouldn't mind an edge in Nolan Smith. I heard he's really good run blocking. I looked up PFF. I looked up a lot of his grades. His run blocking grade is pretty well. Now, I just want to preface that I'm not like a draft analyst or player analyst. But I just refer to PFF as a good talking point.
But the thing about that is, you have Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa
I agree.
Either
That's
side.
not my pick.
Why would if those guys are performing, you shouldn't need anybody else. And if they're not performing, get rid of them so you're not paying them.
I agree. That's if I picked defense, like I wouldn't mind having Nolan Smith because he's from Georgia. I'll take anyone from Georgia. To be honest with you, my pick is D tackle inside the line. That's that in the trenches. That's where the running.
Yeah,
that's where they struggle. Most of the runs are going to be in that area, not really off the edge. So a D tackle, there's a lot of them, and look, I'm not qualified to pick whichever one, to be honest with you, but there's a guy that's hovering around the second round, first round area. He might be a little too high at 21, but I'm going to say it. Mozzie Smith out of Michigan, D tackle. I'm sorry, he's just too good to pass up, and I've seen the most film on him, and he's a guy that's not really a pass rusher. He doesn't have a lot of sacks. He is more of a sit, and he engages and he waits and he lets the play come to him. And that's what I would like the most. A guy that is going to be ready, if it's a run, to be able to read and react. And he's an animal. I mean, the guy's massive. If you watch his highlights, he's a freak off blocking, shedding. So that's what I really want. I'll be fine with some of the other guys on here. I forgot there was one guy that I can't remember that I would want. But the one guy, D tackle, that I would not want is Brian Breesy out of Clemson.
You don't think he's good?
He's projected at this area. I don't want him. Like
Why?
I don't know too much about D tackle, but I just hated watching it. It was boring. He was underwhelming. And I was like, this guy's going over Mozzie Smith. I couldn't see it.
So what if you do this? What if at 21 you have 21st pick, right?
Yeah.
What if let's say Mozzie is available and Breesy's also available? Now Mozzie's not supposed to go in the first round, right?
I wouldn't mind trading back, to be honest with you.
Or what if you trade back? Or what if you pick somebody else at 21 and then use your second round pick to trade up early second round to get Mozzie?
Possible, but here's my scenario. I actually have planned a second round pick already.
Oh, okay.
And that second round pick is a running back, Zach Charbonnet out of UCLA.
So this is no bias at all. Both players played for Michigan.
This is no bias whatsoever. Look, the fact is these players are right around the picks, and it's the most film I've seen on any player because I watch Michigan every single day. I'll tell you right now, Zach Charbonnet fits perfectly. No bias.
Yeah, he does.
I've watched the most of him at Michigan and at UCLA. He fits the most because he's a north-south back, and he breaks tackles, something that Eckler is not. Even if Eckler comes back, Zach Charbonnet still fits right into the system. I would not be mad, though, if Eckler leaves and we fill it with Zach Charbonnet, who is more of an every down back, and you lose that receiver quality of a running back because you have Mike Williams, you have Keenan Allen, you have Jordan Palmer. I think we're set there. What we really are missing this year is a run game. And as great as Eckler is, I love him to death. I bought his jersey. He cannot fulfill what we need. It's just a fact. He's great. As great of a player as he is, sometimes you're better off just getting a guy that fits the scheme more or fitting your needs better. Drafting by needs rather than best player is kind of what I'm getting at here. And so, look, if Zach Charbonnet gets us 100 rushing yards rather than Eckler getting 100 receiving yards, I'm taking the 100 rushing yards now. Eckler's been great for us, but I'm taking the 100-yard rushing. So D tackle and running back with those first two picks, and that not solves, but it helps out both of our running issues on both sides of the ball. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on...
Well, I have a question for you.
Yep.
So what do you want to do with Eckler?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to give him a deal or not? I mean, if you had to, you have to choose.
Ideally, he comes back
for like a 2-year deal, 3.
No, he won't come back unless it's the max. So unfortunately, he's most likely gone.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to be left with Isaiah Spiller and Josh Kelly.
But the thing is, before Thursday, before the draft, you have to be confident in what you think is going to happen with Eckler. Because
that's what I'm saying,
honestly,
though.
if it was me and Eckler's leaving, I'm getting Bijan if he's available. I don't think he will be, but I would get Bijan.
I would agree with you on that. But I don't think we'll know. I mean, I hope they know.
They
I hope
should have
they know
already
by
been
now.
talking. Why weren't they talking to him?
Because think about it now. Like, now you got to think, if you can't come up with a deal, what are you going to trade to receive, like, from other teams? Like, you're going to trade Eckler. Who are you getting back?
True.
Like, are you getting picks? Are you getting whatever?
You should
Like,
I mean, if you trade Eckler, I think you'll get a good amount back, right? Because I think honestly, he was the Chargers' offense identity, right? These past 2
Yeah.
years.
But he
Yeah,
is
he's great.
I mean, again, with running backs, how many years does he have left? 3?
yeah, it's just
Like-
it's unfortunate that he really sucks at running the ball. It's just a fact, and like that's what
Eckler?
Yeah, it's
I
just
would
like
say
what,
sucks.
I wouldn't say
he's
sucks.
pretty bad. He's pretty bad.
But
he's
or is
pretty
it the line?
Yeah.
No, come on. The line's fine. We've drafted line like the past few years. Zion Johnson.
That doesn't
and
mean you're
Rashawn
so
Slater.
good.
Okay,
Yeah, but they're great guys.
I have a question for you, Jared. So I basically talked about this with John as well. So for your team, for the Chargers, like what do you think was the reason why you guys blew like a 21-point lead or something? Like what was the reason?
There's no excuse.
Because it wasn't because of the run, right?
Well, he
It
said,
was.
yeah, because of the
I
run.
agree.
I think it was more the run than anything else. I agree with Jared on that. Yeah,
so
the
you
defense.
You got to think.
So you don't think it was Trevor Lawrence that
I want
picked him apart?
to.
Yes, I
No,
do.
no,
but if he wouldn't have had all the opportunities, 50 passing attempts, if the Chargers could just run it.
If you're
Oh,
thinking
okay,
that,
gotcha. So you're talking about from the offensive side of the ball, not the defensive side of the ball. Okay, yeah.
remember in the beginning of the season, the Ravens were blowing a lot of leads, and John, you had mentioned that the reason they're blowing it is because they can't run the ball.
Dobbins
when they're
wasn't
up.
there.
Gotcha.
And I never thought about that until you mentioned that, and then of course the Chargers do it in big fashion. But
Okay,
it's
then-
true. I mean, if they were passing first down, second down, third down, you're stopping the clock. If they're all incomplete, you're stopping the clock. And that gave a lot more time to the Jags to come back. Now, there should have been no reason they came back, to be honest with you. But you think they should go defense?
Yeah, well, if that's the case, then if Eckler stays, I mean, it doesn't matter what he does. You get Bijan Robinson. You get a good running back. That way, even if he stays, you need that competitive pressure. You need both of them to fight for that position.
And then get maybe Mozzie's available second round.
Right.
That would be fine.
But
I'd be okay with that.
Is what about defensive back? I mean, like you said, Adderley is gone. Asante Samuel, 3 interceptions on Trevor Lawrence that game, but J.C. Jackson was hurt. What if he comes back and gets hurt again? Now you're going to have the whole season with just Samuel. Like maybe get another defensive back.
We have Mike Davis, who's okay. He's not a star, but yeah, we really are because we paid J.C. Jackson.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta hope. You gotta hope J.C. Jackson comes back and is healthy.
Yeah, you can't really. You have to. You can't get a star and then say J.C. you're benched.
Right.
So that's the only thing we can do. All right, so let's move on. So Caleb obviously is not here, but he sent us in a video. So he recorded a little PowerPoint that he had with a voiceover of him describing everything. So in this video, he entails what he wants the Eagles to do with the draft pick, but also he tried to predict what we would say as far as our teams and who we thought they should pick.
So did he name a player or a position?
Yes, he named a player.
All right, so should we recap who we each want our team to pick?
Well, yeah. So
I want Flowers.
You basically gave Jonathan. You gave basically defense, safety, DB.
Yeah.
And then John, you obviously gave Zay Flowers receiver.
Okay.
And then I gave basically Michigan player, maybe D tackle and running back. So this is Caleb's PowerPoint. 3, 2, 1.
What's up, you guys? Sorry I couldn't be there. I'm currently in Texas, so that explains the low budget quality of this slideshow. But I wanted to run through just real quickly to give you guys an idea of who I'm going to pick for the Eagles to draft and who I think you guys are going to pick for your respective teams. So, of course, we'll start with the first, Jonathan. Well known in the crowd that you are a Cowboys fan. I don't know how that emoji got there, but I think the Cowboys are going to take. I don't think Jerry can resist getting Bijan Robinson. And that's about the scope of everything. I think, Jonathan, you're going to want anyone from Texas.
Oh,
So Jared, you are the Chargers fan of the group. I don't want to see you suffer. I know you've been through a lot, and I want to bring things back to happier times. So my prediction is probably a speed wide receivers, with a lot of people saying, and knowing you, Jared, you're going to... Again, I have not seen the team Michigan has, but I think your preference will be someone from Michigan. Running back, again, probably from Michigan. Tight end for Moore. Moore likes his tight ends, and now he's with Jared. Now he's with the Chargers. But again, ideally someone from Michigan, but definitely not Michigan State. John, you are the Giants fan, and I'd say the logical one. There's your man, Daniel Jones. I think Giants have a definite need on defense and probably at center, but they won't do that. I think the New York market desires high-profile wide receivers, so I think the Giants, and you might pick this, but I think the Giants are going to get the juiciest wide receiver available. Interpret that how you may. Now, for me, obviously, again, I don't know how that got in there, but I am the Eagles fan. I think we'll get Bijan Robinson. I know that's a crazy take, but I think mainly I'd like to see this happen despite the Cowboys. We also lost Sanders. I don't think Penny is the answer. But again, spiting the Cowboys. But obviously the second would be Jalen Carter pending due diligence. I know he's been through some trouble, so if all things are sorted, I think the Eagles can't resist taking him at probably 10 if he's still there. Other than that, Howie does like to trade, so that's kind of my most expected outcome, because a lot of the team is still there. Maybe we do need some help investing in the future along the lines, but I think the safety thing will be okay. But again, this is my unbiased, I guess I did mean being there, my unbiased take. Feel free to think and discuss amongst yourselves.
All right.
Wow, that was amazing. I love that.
That was good.
Well
And
done, Caleb.
He's right on the money.
Everything perfect.
Somebody from Texas.
Somebody from Texas, somebody from Michigan, and a receiver.
That's good.
Yeah, we are like a broken record.
Dude, I didn't realize that the Eagles had number 10. That's not fair.
Dude, okay, so yeah,
The league has to do something about that. Like,
they should take it away.
Saints.
Give it to the Giants, just because
I mean, they just went to the Super Bowl. Can they do that? Like, how'd they get this 10 pick?
they
It's
traded
the
it.
Saints.
It was traded from a previous
Oh my
because
gosh.
other teams make easy trades with them. They give them too much.
Yeah, this is crazy. Oh, my
But yeah,
God.
it makes
If they
sense
get-
for them to get Bijan because
yeah, imagine if
Sanders,
that happens.
Miles Sanders is gone.
Oh my gosh! Imagine if they get Bijan Robinson and
Jonathan,
Just
we have no chance to win the
but-
NFC.
But
Sad,
not
man.
because of fit, just to spite the Cowboys,
Yeah.
because he thinks they want Bijan. I mean, remember what was it, Dallas Goedert? They picked Dallas Goedert
yeah.
right before the Cowboys.
Well, they also picked Devonta Smith, like the pick before the Giants.
They do that often.
They pissed me off with that one.
So, last thought, because we're talking about running backs, and John, Bijan isn't your favorite running back out of this draft.
Who is?
Who is?
Who is? That's the biggest question. We actually mentioned him already. He was projected, I think, by... Oh, he was projected by NFL.com
yeah.
to go to the Cowboys.
Are you talking
Yeah.
Gibbs? Okay.
Gibbs.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
If
He's
you
good too.
have you seen him at Alabama?
Oh yeah, he's good.
So if anybody hasn't heard of Gibbs, go watch highlights. But you should have, because he was on Alabama. But he literally looks like Kamara when he's out there. And the thing is, he really doesn't run it. He catches more passes than he runs it. He almost reminds me of like Eckler in terms of how much he passes it, how he receives it. But he's a big back as well. And I think he's going to make an impact. I can't wait to see where he goes, because wherever he goes, I'm drafting him in fantasy. It's almost like 2 years ago when Chase was on LSU, took a year off, went to the draft. I'm like, whoever he goes to, I'm going to draft him in fantasy. And he ended up going with Burrow, which was great. But wherever Gibbs goes, he's going to be my fantasy draft pick. So
Yeah,
don't steal that.
I actually even forgot about him. In the big games, Gibbs showed up. In the big games, Bijan Robinson, he didn't show up. Against Alabama, he didn't play that well. Against a lot of these top teams, when the stars are supposed to come out, he didn't come out. So I was like, man, that's probably going to be held against him a little bit in the draft. But I mean, he's still just freak talent. That's why people are putting him high. Gibbs, he can play. You're right, John. Gibbs can play, and I actually forgot about him. I would probably put him as my top running back in the draft. So hey, if the Eagles get Bijan, okay. Actually, I'm not too concerned, even though he's a freak talent and they can open the playbook more. Gibbs, I'm more afraid of Gibbs.
Oh yeah,
he can make plays. Just go back and watch the Alabama highlights. He can make plays, and so you're right, John.
And John, you did say that you would get his jersey if he goes to the Eagles or the Cowboys.
not getting the jersey.
Interesting. Okay.
Or Commanders. I can't support the Commanders.
But
That's
honestly,
not gonna happen.
I didn't even think about this. If Gibbs is available at number 26, the Cowboys should get him.
Yes,
The Cowboys should
yes.
get him. If
Yep.
he's available, the Cowboys should get him.
Yes.
Forget the defense, forget everything.
Forget it.
Get him.
All
Get
I'm
him.
saying is somebody pick up Gibbs before the Chiefs do.
Yes,
Oh,
please.
my-
Please.
No.
Or
No.
I saw the Chiefs met with Zay Flowers. If Zay Flowers, if everyone in the NFL lets Zay Flowers drop all the way to the Chiefs,
I'm gonna be pissed.
yeah, that's unfair.
Yeah, I mean, I
And
heard
that's collusion.
That's gotta be.
That's gotta be that's collusion. I heard some people saying D Hop was interested in the Chiefs. But I don't know how.
Oh
accurate it is.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Why not?
You know, it just doesn't matter at this point. No matter who they have, as long as it's Mahomes, they're going to probably make it to the championship.
Yeah.
So next podcast will be next week, and then we'll talk about all the picks and how we were all right with our picks. And then we can finally start to actually debate some substance in the NFL. The rosters won't be 100% set, but after the draft, you'll have a good idea of what these rosters will look like, and we'll be able to start debating some NFL talk. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and go over to our Instagram and our TikTok at Dorm Debate Podcast and follow us over on there for more videos. Thank you guys so much again, and we will see you guys next week.